Hello and welcome, dear members and friends and supporters of the IJL. It is a real privilege and pleasure to appear before you today, although it is a slightly odd format given the strange times we are currently living in. My intention in the next few minutes is to give you an update on some of the important legal cases that we have been handling, and primarily the case before the International Criminal Court. But I will also touch upon another case, a recent case which has been submitted to the US Supreme Court. And the purpose of my presentation is not only to tell you what we've done, it's to tell you how we choose the cases that we pick. I have been honored to serve as the vice president of the IJL for the last 3 years. I took upon myself this position because of 3 background factors. The first is I had a very long career working for the Israeli government, 20 years in the Israeli military, together with my very good friends Pnina, who you all know, Meir, our president, but also Avichai Mendelblit, the Attorney General, Reisner, many of the people you just met. All of us served together in the IDF, and we were privileged to do so. But I also spent another 20 years serving as the Israeli government's legal advisor to the peace process with the various neighbors. And this is a flame which never goes out, serving the country. The second reason is personal. My father and his family fled Germany in the early 1930s after witnessing firsthand the rise of Nazi anti-Semitism. They were one of the lucky ones, of course, because they got out before. After arriving in Israel, my father joined a group of similar immigrants to establish settlements in mandatory Palestine, and later joined the Haganah. And in the 1948 Israeli War of Independence, my father served as a major in the Alexandroni Brigade. And the third reason I took this position is because I am blatantly and unashamedly a Zionist. I believe in the state of Israel and the Jewish people, and I am proud of it. So serving in the IJL has been an opportunity to further all these agendas, to continue to serve the interests of the state of Israel and the Jewish people, and to stand up and hopefully prevent injustices like those suffered by all of our families. So, how do we choose when to intervene in the IJL? And there is no mathematical formula, but we do have, I think, 3 criteria. Criteria number 1, there needs to be an element of unfairness. Someone must be doing something which violates our feeling of fairness and decency. The second criteria is that there must be some serious consequences or danger as a result of that activity. And the third criteria is that we are not talking about a political position, but a professional position. We are not a political organization. We are a professional legal organization. And that brings me to the story of the ICC. As you heard so eloquently from my friend Roy Schondorf, he explained the background to the proceeding and the status of the proceeding. So I want to give you the IJL's perspective on the process. When the pre-trial chamber issued its call for submissions, we immediately decided to get involved. And what we did, we set up a team of 5 lawyers, 2 external experts, you may know them, Joshua Kern from the UK and Dov Jacobs from The Hague, and myself and 2 of the lawyers from my department at the law firm I work in. And we actually submitted the request for leave to submit to the ICC pre-trial chamber, and we were approved, and consequently we submitted our own amicus brief, our own submission, our own observations to the court. And if I want to focus on what the main issues that we highlighted for the court, I think we highlighted the following 3 things. 1, we said, the court, you do not have jurisdiction over this case. No matter what the prosecutor is saying to you, you do not have jurisdiction. And you do not have jurisdiction for a variety of reasons. One of them is that Palestine is not and has never been a state. And that has incredible consequences in international law in general and with respect to the International Criminal Court in particular. Two, under the Oslo Peace Accords, which I helped negotiate, the Palestinians do not have any authority over Israelis, and therefore they could not delegate such authority to the court. And thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, in order for a case to be taken forward by the court, there needs to be a level of certainty about the facts of the case and the jurisdiction below which the court has no authority. And we tried to show, and I think we succeeded in showing, that no such certainty exists, and in fact, the question marks greatly overpower the exclamation marks in this case. So, why did we choose the ICC case? I think it's obvious. Unfairness? What's more unfair than going after Israel, the country which actually invented the idea of universal jurisdiction, the country, the sole country in this part of the world which actually advocates compliance with international law and dedicates incredible efforts. And Pnina and I spent many years of our lives focused on implementing international law in military operations. What could be more unfair than that? Dangerous, of course it's dangerous, because if the International Criminal Court were to decide to move forward with this case, it could have significant practical and legal consequences for Israeli leaders and the State of Israel itself. And finally, this is obviously a platform for legal argumentation, which is what we do. And that is why we chose to intervene in this case, and that is why we invested so much time, effort in submitting what we hope was a very professional document. So we are now waiting for the pre-trial chamber's decision, and they are taking their time. And if you ask my opinion why they're taking their time, I think it's because of three reasons. One is more than 1,000 pages of submissions from over 40 parties have been put before the court. This is a significant, unprecedented body of legal argumentation. Two, we cannot discount the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the court's work. And three, and probably most important, this is an incredibly hot potato. And we heard earlier the explanation about the sanctions that the US administration has imposed on the court and the prosecutors if they decide to move forward with this case. No visas, no travel, etc. So the judges are obviously under a lot of pressure to come up with a solution. So we are now standing by to see which way they go. Should they, as we hope, decide to accept our position that the court has no jurisdiction, then we will be happy to have done our bit in promoting justice and equality in the international arena. But if they decide to go the other path, then of course we stand ready to continue to do our work to show the fact that Israelis and the Jewish people stand for law and justice, and we won't accept any attempts to violate international law targeting us. But before I close, I wanted to share with you another case, not a small one, but a recent one which we just decided to assist in. A few months ago, I was contacted by our affiliate organization in the United States, the American Association of Jewish Lawyers and Jurists, and their president, Stephen Greenwald. And Stephen told me that their organization had decided to submit an amicus brief to the US Supreme Court on the question of whether or not the US courts have jurisdiction to address a question of reparation for Jews from Hungary who were deprived of their property during World War II. And we immediately decided it passes our three tests. And we agreed to join. And we connected them to one of our IJL members, Gabor Damjanovic, a very senior Hungarian lawyer who helped them, and the amicus brief was submitted to the US Supreme Court just a month ago. And these two examples are here to show you how you, current and future members of the IJL, can help us promote these type of goals, to take a stand before inequality and injustice, and to speak loudly and professionally in the face of those people who seek to demonize Jews and to delegitimize the State of Israel. With your assistance, we hope to continue to do this for many years to come. Thank you very much.